So anyway, thank you ever so much for joining me. Anybody who is joining and watching on YouTube, welcome. There's a few people that may appear as we go along, but I didn't set up a waiting room because I wasn't in the mood to be entering people. So there shouldn't be any disruptions. Shaz might disappear at some point because her internet down in her garden room is a bit wonky. So if she vanishes, it doesn't mean there's been an earthquake in Staffordshire. That's all it means. So this is my first online meditation offer. So thank you very much for supporting me. It is about kindness. Because there needs to be a little bit more of kindness in the world. The kindness can be for yourself, it can be for other people. It's totally up to you whether it's very much about kindness for you. And equally, if we're kinder to ourselves, we can generally look after ourselves a bit better, realise what we need, realise what we maybe haven't got in our lives that we might need more of. All of that stuff. Sometimes it's our basic needs. So I've got some water here. I do like to guide meditation with a cup of tea, but I ran the danger of throwing hot tea over myself and recording myself throwing hot tea over myself. So I've made the sensible choice of water. I've got a nice blanket over my lap. Denise, I know you like to be very warm and cozy. So your house is usually warm and cozy, so that's good. Kath also likes to be nice and warm. And Shaz is kind of like me. She kind of goes hot and cold a bit in a literal sense. So I've got a blanket because I thought I don't want to get cold, but just make sure you're cozy because meditation, when we kind of switch off all of the noise in our heads, we often realise that actually we're a bit thirsty or a bit hot or a bit cold or our trousers are digging in or our bra strap's cutting in. So make sure you're comfy first and foremost. If you decide that what we're doing isn't for you, that's fine. Just log off. That's absolutely fine. But equally, do give me a shout at any point if you feel that you're in need of a little chat, because I've always got ears. I meditate, as I think people know, because it helps what's going on in my head. And I think if we meditate and just step away from all of the sticky, busy, messy life, it can help us realise what we actually need and want. And as I say, that can be as basic as a blanket and a cup of tea. It's not about emptying your mind. Your mind's only going to be empty when you're dead, and we're not planning to die in the next 30 minutes. In a way, it's about quietening your mind, but it isn't even necessarily about that. In time with meditation, you definitely can quieten your mind. But actually, I think if you're new to meditation and it's something that you're trying out and seeing if it's for you, it's more about noting your thoughts. It's definitely not about judging yourself, because it's a bit like when you say you're going to go on a diet and all you want to eat is chocolate. When you say, oh, I want to quieten my mind, it fills with a gazillion things. So that's definitely an important thing about meditation. It isn't about emptying your mind. It's also not about staying rigidly, painfully still. Yes, we try and settle into a stillness and we try and settle into our position. And there is a prescribed position of sitting in a certain way to achieve this, that, and the other. But I actually think that's counterproductive as well, because then we're all up here and we're like, am I breathing right? Am I sitting right? Am I thinking right? So long as you're here, so long as you're breathing, you're doing it right. I recommend that you make sure you're comfortable. I'm sat cross-legged, but that's just because I'm a weirdo and I'm comfortable cross-legged. I'm sat with my back supported and I'm cozy because I've got my blankie. If you sit on a dining room chair and sit with your feet on the floor, that's perfect. And if you sit with an upright spine, that's perfect. But people have lots of physical reasons why sitting that way and not moving isn't good for them. So I'm a fan of a wriggle. I'm a fan of actually not staying too still. And I don't think that makes me bad at meditation. I think that's just my meditation. This chair's also getting a bit old now, so it does actually wonk. It never used to wonk, so I perhaps need to turn it upside down and tighten a few screws, but maybe not. You can meditate sitting, you can meditate lying down. Meditating lying down often runs the risk of falling asleep, but sometimes that's not a bad thing. Basically, you need to make sure that you're looking after your body, mind, and soul. So, sitting rigidly still, I think, isn't for everyone. Having an empty mind is only for people who are dead. So really, you do you, you get comfy, you sit how you want to sit. Um, I'm not putting music on for these sessions, but that's for a variety of reasons. What I want to listen to and what you want to listen to will be different. I started learning meditation in silence. I think in the beginning that can be a bit testing because when there's quiet, your brain kind of feels obliged to fill that quietness with chatter. Um, but these sorts of sessions are very much about you working out what you like to do and what makes you feel better. So, having waffled all of that at you, in a moment, I'm going to ask you to find your stillness, however that is, whether that's sat on a dining room chair, that's great. Whether it's on a comfy chair, a sofa, your office chair, really doesn't matter. Just find that little bit of stillness and soften into the chair. Have a little check in and sense, are you warm enough? Do you need to grab a hoodie? Have you got a blanket? Do you need a glass of water? Not so much on a warm day like today, but in the colder weather, I quite like a mug of tea, usually a massive mug of tea, and I'll wrap my hands around it. But that's because that warmth is actually nurturing. It's a reflex from when we're little babies. So if you sit and soften, however that is, have a little wriggle. If you feel you need a wriggle, please do that. And it's totally up to you whether you have your eyes open or your eyes closed. I, by default, used to close my eyes in meditation, and then went and had some meditation teaching somewhere and realized that actually only being able to meditate with my eyes closed was a bad thing. So I have a fixed point. You can look at Spike the Cactus if you like. You can look at anything in your room. You can look at my crazy mop of hair if you like, but I don't recommend it. The idea is that you can close your eyes or you softly look at something. It's whatever works for you. You'll be breathing in and out through your nose, unless that's uncomfortable. If you need to breathe in and out through your mouth, that's okay. But typically, it's breathing gently in and out of your nose. And we've all been breathing since the second we were born, so we're all good at that. And now, if you just take some slow, gentle breaths through your nose and out of your nose as we arrive in this space, we kind of really arrive and begin our meditation. We use words in meditation like connecting to your breath. That's really just breathing and being a little bit more mindful of your breath and putting a bit of thought into your breath, because we generally don't think about breathing, we just breathe. So at this point, we're just kind of stepping away from whatever the day's held and whatever tomorrow's going to hold. And it's about sitting in this chair at this point. And for me, I'm looking out at the blue sky and the trees blowing in the breeze. And just thinking about my breath. So if we breathe together, we sense how our bellies and our chest are breathing and moving. You may just find there's just a bit of breath in your belly because you're at rest, you're at home, you're safe, and your breath is actually quite minimal. I'm going to ask you to invite some breath, not only into your belly, but up into your chest, maybe up towards your collarbones, and just take some slower, longer breaths in and out through your nose as we'll just step away from our day together. And you carry on gently breathing at whatever pace works for you. As you build a meditation habit, you might count your seconds as you breathe in and out. But right now, just slow your breathing down. And you'll start to notice things in the room or outside of the room, and that's okay. That means you're just a bit more present. It might be smells, it might be something you can see, it might be something you can hear. That's all good. And just continue with that kind, gentle breath. I like to think that this slowing down creates a buffer, almost like a little cushion, circles us with a little bit of calmness. It absorbs some of the messiness in life, some of the spikiness. And hopefully now you really feel like you're in your body and your body's on your chair and your breathing's just that little bit more connected. And maybe we're breathing up here into our collarbones a little bit more. I'm going to suggest now we start to think of kindness. Kindness to ourselves, first and foremost. And this meditation can be entirely for you and about you. It can absolutely, totally be about kindness for you and what you need. It can be kindness to the loved ones in our lives. And it can be kindness for the people we encounter and the people beyond the people we encounter. It's your meditation, so it's your choice. The kindness that we're going to fill our heart space with can be totally for you and about you. I like to think that kindness comes from our souls and it comes from this heart space. This sort of meditation, a kindness meditation, anytime you feel that your soul's tired or drained, if your heart feels worn out, you can remember this meditation and you can step away from life, create that buffer around yourself and breathe into your heart space. And in this meditation now, we're going to come together and we're going to breathe together and share this time. We're going to grow some kindness and we're going to fill our hearts and our souls with this kindness. And if we choose, we're going to share it out around us. And if we choose to focus on kindness here, that's okay. So as you continue with your slow, conscious breaths, remember, keep your eyes open, keep your eyes closed. Use whatever posture works for you, helps you be comfortable. In a moment, I'm going to invite you to continue with your gentle, compassionate breaths, but to think about your heart space, this space here, a little bit more. So if you think about this space, you can just think about it. You can put your hand there. You can put both hands there. Have a play around maybe. Try your hands on your chest, off your chest. Whatever works for you. I'm going to ask us all together, as much as we can, to take 4 calm, kind, compassionate breaths. But I want you to think about your heart space. Think about that area and really sense the movement as we breathe in and that slight fall as we breathe out. I'll count in my head and let us all know when we're at 4. Don't forget, at any point, if you want to wriggle, you've got an itch, give it a scratch. Notice what you need, honour what you need. Now I'm going to ask you to bring a bit of colour into your thoughts, into your mind. I actually put this green t-shirt on purpose because I knew what we were doing this evening. So I'm going to imagine, or ask you to imagine, either this kind of beautiful, rich green colour or a beautiful sort of powder pink colour, because they're both the colours of the heart chakra, which is a chakra that lives in our heart space. And I think it's fair to say if we feed this chakra, it's going to support our kindness. So if you imagine now, under my hands, at your chest, there's a beautiful, rich, green ball of light. Maybe it's glowing, maybe it's vibrating, maybe it's a sense of warmth, maybe that doesn't work for you, maybe you just want to think about the kindness, the love, the compassion. Have a little think about using your mind, daydreaming a beautiful ball of green light. Whatever works for you, whatever makes sense for your brain. As we sit together and connect with our breath, we're filling up our heart spaces, we're filling up a ball of green light. Maybe thinking about comforting, warm vibration, whatever works. And with each breath, imagine that green light getting brighter or darker or richer. Maybe it grows a little bit, maybe it buzzes, it reverberates, maybe it glows. In some sense, feel it expand. Fill your heart space. At any point, if you feel you need to take a sigh out of your mouth, that can come up at any point. So I'm going to take a sigh out in a moment. Now I need to take a wriggle. And now I'm going to invite you to expand this sense of green light beyond your heart space. Whether you've got your eyes open or closed, just imagine this beautiful green light creeping and expanding and filling up as you take comfortable, kind breaths. It's absolutely okay to keep this sensation, this awareness within the chest. It's absolutely okay to keep this kindness for you. You decide if you want to fill your whole body with beautiful green light. I sometimes like to fill up to my shoulders and down my arms and down my hands. Imagine a glowing and almost sense my fingers tingling. Sometimes I like to send it down into my tummy and my pelvis and my legs and my feet. Thinking about it, that kind of makes me the Incredible Hulk, but that's okay. But you do you. You keep hold of this kindness for yourself if you wish. If you wish to bring to mind those that you'd like to share any kindness with, whether they're people you know, people that you don't know, send it where you want to send it. And take as many gentle breaths as you need. Now, you may want to stay as you are. You may want to enjoy feeling relaxed. You may be ready to come back into the reality of the day, whatever you prefer. If your eyes are closed, gently blink them open. Slowly let your eyes adjust to the light. My feet have gone dead, but that's because I've been sat with them cross-legged. So I'm going to move my foot before it falls off. You wriggle your fingers, toes, maybe your nose. And if you take a deep breath in and then a really exaggerated big breath out. And I'm sending kindness from my heart to yours, to your circle, to the people beyond your circle. And thank you for doing battle with the IT and joining me. And hopefully you feel a little bit more kindness in your soul and it's maybe filled your cup up. And feel free to join me this time next week. Can't remember what we're doing, but it'll be something lovely because meditation is all about lovely stuff. And you know, literally all of you know where I am. 2 of you've got keys. So give me a shout if you want to pick my brains at all. And thank you very much, ladies.